Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Do You Read BTS? I'm Lisa.
And I'm Dee. Welcome back, guys. So this week we read a Kim Sok-jin story called Skin, and it is by JesJWit on Wattpad. The summary of it pretty much says a simple piercing that turned your life upside down.
That it does.
That it does.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, so at the beginning of this story, it's a girl, which name is not, it's anonymous, so the girl.
Mm-hmm.
She is with her friend Kaya, which is about to leave town and go study overseas. So before she leaves overseas, she said Kaya wants her to get a piercing with her. So she decided that they are going to a BTS shop, which is body tattoos, body images, tattoos, and something.
Yeah, I don't remember what
Or shop. Body image and tattoo shop. There you go. So they go into this place and she decides she's going to get her belly button pierced. And that's when she is met at the front desk as Jimin. And, he handles all the work. Kaya's flirting with Jimin,
Mm-hmm.
And her friend goes first and what did she get? Did she get, what kind of piercing did she get, her friend?
I think she got she got her nose pierced?
Yeah, didn't she get like the middle? What is it called? A sep something. The one that go in between the nose.
Oh, the septum.
Didn't she get that?
I don't remember. I know she got. Oh no. She got some her ear pierced.
Well, Jen had that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so her friend goes first. She gets pierced and then she goes back. She's never had any piercings before, not even an ear piercing. So she's scared to death. She goes there, gets talking to Jen. Jen act like a real asshole, pretty much. But he, pretty much giving her the gist of what you need to do, about this piercing. He gives her the piercing, tells her all the aftercare and everything, and then that's pretty much it for the most part. But and so
as they're leaving out, she smiles at Jim and is like, "Yeah." She gives Jim her number pretty much, and so.
She gets a card from Jen.
Yeah, she does get a card from Jin, and then she gives Jim, and then Kaya gives Jim her number, and so Kaya's only in town for I think like 2 more days, and so she wants to go out on this double date with her, Jim, and Jin, and the girl.
Right.
So they go on this double date. They go to like a carnival or fair or something they go to, and they're like riding rides and stuff. So Jim and old girl dip off and do their own thing, and now it's just the girl and Jin. So they're kind of like getting to know one another, riding rides. They do get on this one ride, and it makes Jin sick where he's like throwing up. And they're kind of just hanging out. Eventually, they all meet up again, but Kaya wants to go because her and Jim about to go get it in.
Right, real quick. Where are they going? To the car? Like, where y'all going?
Right. I think for some reason I feel like they was going to somebody's crib. I don't know, because they just And so Jin and girl, so now the girl needs a ride because she came with Kaya.
Oh yeah, and Jen gonna give her a ride back home. Go ahead.
So
they go back.
Oh, they go back to her I guess to her place.
Oh God, why can't I remember this part?
I can't either. Oh, I just remember her being hot and no, I think they were still there. I just remember her being hot and taking off her hoodie, but she only had a sports bra on because that's what Kai told her to wear. So she ended up taking the sweatshirt off anyway, and then Jim was like looking at her body and her piercing that he did. And I do remember they kissed, and then she reached out to Kaya to see like, hey girl, where you at? Like, I'm ready to go, or something like that. And Kaya's like, we're about to leave because we trying to go and get it in. So then Jen, I feel like something happened. Wait, okay. So remember when Jen takes her home, there is a part where they're like talking about it because she's like, he asked her pretty much like, why are you friends with her? Y'all seem like opposites. And she says, y'all seem opposite as well, talking about him and Jimin. And Jen's like kind of laughing like, you have no idea how similar we really are. Because Jen is known to be messing with any and everybody that come in. Most of the people that he's pierced, he's also had sex with. So she invites him in and they have a few shots. They talk about her ex.
Which the reason why she break up with her ex, which is Namjoon, is because the friend Kaya says that he tried to sleep with her.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they slept together, but he did. Like, they didn't have sex, but they did sleep together. If that makes sense.
When that?
Because so when she woke up in the morning, because she drank a lot and they kept drinking. So when she wakes up in the morning, she sees him in her bed without his shirt on, but he had his pants on, and she realized she had her sports bra on and her underwear, but they didn't actually like have sex. I don't think. I think they just fell asleep in the bed together.
Did she? Yeah. They didn't sleep together. Okay, I'm thinking about another. Okay.
They just like laid in the bed together, but they didn't like have sex. Like they, you know what I mean?
And so when he went back home, that's when Jimmy was saying, like, okay, what happened? You know something happened. He was like, nothing really happened. He was like, you really mean to tell me that you really did sleep with her? Because Jen so used to sleeping with everybody that he with.
Mm-hmm. And Kai was like, well, I bounced on it, girl, because
I'm about to leave, girl. So you saw it.
Right. So I know Kaya leaves, and that's what the shop's called, Body Mods and Tattoo Shop. And so after Kaya leaves, the girl is by herself and is like, I gotta do something. So she ends up getting the card out that Jen gave her and contacts him. And he tells her to go into the shop. So she comes she says she thinks something's wrong with her tattoo. So she her tattoo with her piercing.
That was her little way of, because she was like, she wanted to talk to him. But that's the only thing she could think of.
Right.
Even though there was nothing wrong with her.
Right. So she walks into the shop, and that's where she meets Yoongi, because Yoongi's behind the counter. And so she's looking for Jin and Yoongi's like eyeing her and really kind of checking her out. And so she says she's here to have him look at her piercing. Jin asks her what's wrong, and she's like, I think it's off. I think it's crooked. And he's like, okay, let me check. And he's like, it looks pretty good to me. Like, pretty sure it's perfect. So then he tells her, I'm going to come by at midnight.
Yeah, because she kissed him.
Mm-hmm.
She kisses him. Because that's what happened, is that they were kissing, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, oh, I can't remember. He was trying to be all professional about it. And she was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And she left.
Mm-hmm.
Or he left. One or the other.
Yeah. So when she came back and they had the conversation, she ended up leaving after he told her he was going to come by. And so Yoongi pops his head in the door and was like, oh, you hitting that? And Jin telling him, like, I'm not really sure yet. And then Yoongi gonna tell him, if you don't, I will.
Yeah.
So then, because Jin has a history of messing with the women that he pierces, one of the girls is hitting him up a lot, and so he's over it because he doesn't like her like that. And so he's like getting prepared to go to the girl's house. The girl's getting everything like taken care of to make sure that it was clean for him, and he ended up letting her know that he was going to be on his way, but he's early. He initially told her he was going to be there at midnight. Now he's coming at like 9:30 or something like that.
Because that other girl was trying to get with him.
Right. And he wasn't having it. So he was like, I'm going to come over now.
Yeah.
So they have a conversation about like why he wanted to come over so late and why he wanted to hang out. And he was like, I wanted to get you alone, blah, 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 blah. I think they start making out. I don't know.
They do start making out.
That's right. And then Jimin calls him and is like, hey, that crazy chick is here and she's looking for your ass. And Jin's like, get rid of her. I'm busy. And he's like, no, bro, you need to bring your ass here. So he ends up leaving the girl.
Mm-hmm.
So
and she, in her head, she just keep at this point. She's like, why he keep leaving? Like he don't want to have sex with me. She want to have sex with him at this point. And she like, why does he keep leaving like that? Because he don't give her a reason why he leave. He just like, I gotta go.
Yeah, he just bounces out and just
Right.
expects it to be okay.
Yeah.
So then him and Jim, so he does take care of the situation at the place. It's like, you can't be showing up here. And Jim is like, did you get a chance to do it yet? And he's like, not black meat. So I'm gonna have to try this for another day.
Mm-hmm.
But he's starting to realize that he's feeling a little bit some things because he wants to do differently with her than he has been doing with all the other women.
Yeah. But what's the part when Jimmy ended up telling, don't the girls just start coming around? This ex-girlfriend of his was coming around and he ended up...
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I forgot about that. Okay, there's a part where she goes into the tattoo shop again and she heads towards Jin's room, but he's piercing somebody's tongue and she tells him that she needs to talk. So he says that he's busy and she's like, I'll wait or whatever. And so as soon as he gets ready to go off, she starts kissing him. And then he tells her that they can't do that. And then as she's turning to leave, Yoongi tells her, you're too good for him, and that Jin's a big player and that he's gonna end up hurting her.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they have a conversation about why he keeps running every time that they start to get close. And she's like, I know that you have no problem messing with other people, but for me, you always keep turning me down. Like, what's the deal? And he's like, you're good enough. I don't understand why you feel like that. And he's like, so you want me to fuck you? And she pretty much is like, yeah, absolutely. So
he pretty much drew her like, because she want to be done like the rest of these hoes out here.
Right.
So he was like,
not realizing
that
go ahead.
Like having feelings for her. And so he basically like, oh, you want me to fuck with you like that? I'm about to. I'm about to treat you just like I treat the rest of these hoes. If that's what you want.
Mm-hmm. So they end up leaving together. They go to his bedroom. Stuff gets popping. She tells him that she's never been eaten out before. And then Jin lives with Jimin.
Yeah.
Jin and the girl are at Jin and Jimin's apartment. Uh-huh. And so Jin is going down on her and Jimin comes busting in the door. Right. But Jin don't move.
Right. But he's telling her to be quiet. And for some reason, because Jin usually do not care about girls who he have over there. Like, he really don't care if Jimin heard or not. But for some reason, he cared about Jimin hearing this girl. Mm-hmm. So he told her to be quiet, and then he did his thing.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of happens with them, and
she left.
Really,
she left too.
Mm-hmm.
And that next morning, Jim was like, "Oh," Jim was asking him like, "Who you have in there? You know, I heard you had somebody in there last night." And he was like, "Oh, it was the old thought from the, that keep coming around and slide." He pretty much lied to him.
Right, and then Jimin's trying to tell him like, yeah, Yoongi, did you talk to the girl yet? And he's like, nah, I haven't had a chance. And he's like, yeah, Yoongi was talking about her all day. He really thinks she's like really beautiful and all this other stuff. Uh-huh. And he kept saying that Yoongi said that he didn't deserve that girl and that he'll just mess it up. Uh-huh. So Jin felt some type of way about that.
I think at this point, Jin was just trying to prove him wrong.
Right.
Like, he felt something for her, but he also was trying to prove him wrong.
Exactly. But in the meantime, Kaya is texting the girl telling her like, hey girl, Namjoon has been hitting me up because he wants to talk to you, but you have him blocked and he hit me up. Which that right there was like, I should have known something was up. Why is he texting her? Uh-huh. Should have known.
Right. Like, why how he got the girl number? The whole reason you broke up with this guy is because he was trying to get at your best friend. But all of a sudden, your best friend got that number. He got
exactly. Mm-hmm. The things you don't think about until later on. You like, I don't know. That seemed weird. Uh-huh. And now it makes sense. Right, okay. Right. So, side note, guys, this is a 2-part story. There's the first part of the story is a Jin story. The second part is a Yoongi story.
Right. But they match together.
They match, yeah, and they are both great. Uh-huh.
So that's isn't that when she's like, oh, I need you for a minute, because she needed Jin to be like, that was her boyfriend. when he came over because she didn't know when he was gonna come over. She just knew he was gonna come over.
Oh,
And
right.
so
So she,
she
yeah.
called Jen. Jen came over pretending to be like the boyfriend.
And he opened the door when Namjoon knocked at it and was like, "Oh, does the girl still live here?" So Jin's like, "Who are you?" And Namjoon introduces himself. Jin tells him that he's her boyfriend, and
He asked where she at. She was like, Jen was like, oh, she in a shower wipe because I nutted all over.
yeah, I had to wipe the cum off her
Right?
face. What? Wild, right?
That was so funny.
I was like, wow, that was mighty bold of you,
I
sir.
know, like, okay, straight to it.
Yeah, so I guess that Namjoon was kind of like
Namjoon was
stunned
like,
by
wow,
that.
really? And he tried to turn
Yeah,
around and walked out.
slammed the door and bounced. And so Jin is like really feeling it, like really feeling it. So they're at the shop the next day. The girl that was hounding Jin is trying to come back at him again, and Jin's like, "Don't tell her I'm here." And what does Yoongi do? Oh, he's in the room.
Yep, he right there.
Such a hater.
Yep.
Oh.
I know she still tried to get at him. He pretty much just dismissed her.
Yeah, and he texted the girl because she wanted to see him and he wanted to see her. So she said she'll leave the door unlocked for him to come in or whatever, like, so he could just come when he got done. So he shows up and they watch TV and stuff, and then they get to it.
Right.
They get to it.
And the smut was good too.
The smut was good. It was very detailed.
It
was very detailed. So this is the first time that they're actually gonna, I think, have sex. Because the last time Jin ended up leaving, or no, it's not. Maybe it's, I don't know. But so they're about to get it in, and Jin starts choking her, and she's feeling so overwhelmed that she ends up having a seizure, and she doesn't talk to Jin. She doesn't talk to him like days after that because she's so embarrassed, and then he thinks he did something wrong because neither one of them is talking to one another. Yeah, man, that was crazy. So she didn't. Yeah, she didn't know how to process that. Oh man, so he's okay. So he doesn't know kind of what to do with that. And then Jin,
after he hadn't talked to her for like 2 weeks, he was out here still getting it with all these other girls.
Right. So Jin goes home after that whole situation happens, and Jimin is on the couch with the woman naked. So, but Jin doesn't see the girl's face. So then he comes in the house and is like, you could have taken that into your room or whatever, but he goes in his room over and says he'll let them finish. Come to find out, the girl that Jin is having sex with is Jin's ex-girlfriend. Or ex-fiance, right?
Yeah.
I forgot this story was so tangled.
Like, oh, what happened next? Because it's all everywhere. It was good, but it was kind of everywhere, you know?
Yeah, so Jimin and the girl's name is Yuna. So Jimin and Yuna have been messing around for a while, and he was really like head over heels about her, and but he hadn't told Jin yet. So she's like pissed and was like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. Jimin's finally like, okay, I'm gonna tell him. So eventually Jimin tells Jin, hey, I think I'm in love. And he's like, that's great. Was it the girl from last night? And he's like, yeah, it is, but I need to tell you something. So then Jin's like, oh, this is about to be some shit. Who is it? Jimin finally tells him that it's Yuna. Jin is upset because he's like, really? Of all people, it's my ex-fiance that you want to be serious about? Even though it had been years ago, he was still feeling some type of way.
He ever really loved. And it was the only reason why he is who he is today is because of how they broke up or something. And so that's why he kind of dogged females out, you know?
So he, like you were saying earlier, he just started messing around with all these other girls. And finally, somebody asked him about the girl. Jimin asked him about the girl. And he's like, what does it matter? Like, it is what it is. Anyway, so she goes out with...
She's starting to get back on a date now.
Oh, she goes... Yeah, but she sees Namjoon first. She's at a coffee shop and she runs into Namjoon. And he starts talking to her or whatever. And he's like, oh, how's the boyfriend? All this other stuff. And what's been going on and all this. And she's just like, I don't feel like dealing with this, but he does seem different. And he's trying to like apologize for what he did. And so
I think he tried to get back with her. She like, nope, I gotta, I'm with my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. But he was trying to get back with her.
He was. And so when she's crying and stuff like that, she's going through the mall and she runs into somebody and she just starts crying in their arms, and the person she runs into is Yoongi. And Yoongi's like, "Do you want me to call Jin?" Even though they hadn't talked to each other.
And he do call Jin. Was that nice of him?
Yeah, he calls Jin. That was really nice of him. He calls him. He tries to talk to the girl to see like what happened with him while they're waiting on Jin to come. And she doesn't really get into it too much with him. But Jin finally pulls up and she ends up going. They end up taking her home. He tells her that he has a crush on her. She's like embarrassed because she's like, "You really like me?" And
don't they end up getting together right after this? Like they they together.
Yeah, they do.
That conversation.
And then they eventually end up having actual sex. But the problem is, he pretty much tells her he doesn't know if he can have sex with her without falling in love with her. Pretty much. And so she tells him, "It's cool, just fall in love with me. Let's just be great together. So it's cool. We'll do this thing."
They get it in. They start like
so they get it in.
Other. He don't he end up moving in with her like super fast?
Yeah. It was weird because he asked her to move into her shit. Like
they end up moving with each other like super fast, and they notice that they need a new mattress, and so they like going mattress shopping, and they buy this mattress, and then the people that deliver the mattress is Namjoon.
Right.
And then Namjoon's like, "What the F? Namjoon got back?"
Heck yeah! Like, what really? And he's like, "I didn't know that he worked there and all this other stuff."
Well, you know what was so crazy about this? It wasn't crazy. I just wasn't used to it. Like, it was realistic to me that Jen was like, "Okay, because she was like, we can't afford this mattress," and he was like, well, "I'll pay half, or you pay half." Like, right. But you know, you would read these stories in here, and most of the stories were like, "Oh, I'll pay for it." The man normally be like, "I'll pay for it," but in this story, it was so realistic to me because he was like, "You pay half, and I'm gonna pay half."
Yeah, right. It was a real life situation. So while they're spending time together, I forgot about this. So I think it was right before the mattress and stuff gets delivered, Jimin has a breakdown and Yoongi's trying to find Jin, but Jin's with the girl. Jimin has a breakdown because Yoona ends up leaving him, and he's like a mess after that. So Jin runs home, even though him and Jimin haven't been talking. Jin runs home to take care of Jimin, to kind of help him through his heartbreak, because he knows that he's upset.
In this bathtub, like a "I Need You" video.
Yes, that's exactly what I was like. Really, in the tub though, bro? Okay. Yeah.
So, you know, he done broke all kind of glass. And he going through it about this girl because he was in love with whatever. And, Jen trying to help him, get over it. Yuki comes over and Yuki try to help him. And then what happens after that?
I think after that, they go to the shop, and Yuna ends up going to the shop. And Jin ends up yelling at her about it. And she kept saying how Jimin said he wasn't good enough for her, and accused her of being in love with him. And she's like, "I don't love you anymore, Jin. I'm in love with Jimin."
Like she wanted to be back with Jimin. But then, like, I guess the conversation that Jin and Yuna had outside, like he was, and Yugi and Jimin was watching it on video because they had like a recording thing. And what was the reason? They was like, "Do you remember they broke up?" It was something she did.
That Jimin and Yuna, or Jin and Yuna?
I can't remember why they broke up, but it was like a bad,
I don't remember,
breakup. And Jimin said that he couldn't be with her. Like Jin was like, "You can be." Jin basically, he was telling her, "You can be with her." At this point, and he was like, "Nope, I can't be with her because I did you."
Oh, that's what it was.
Oh, she was pregnant by another man.
She was pregnant.
That's right.
And she ended up putting the baby up for adoption, and she's growing up with two different parents right now. That's what it was.
Jen told her that he could have helped her raise that baby.
Yep, and he didn't know until the last month that the baby wasn't his.
For adoption, even after he basically said he would help her take care of the baby as his, she still put the baby up for adoption.
So yeah, after they heard that whole story, Jim was like, "I can't fuck with her. That's a grimy ass bitch." Like, that was that.
Even after he had did that whole heartbreak.
Right. That was the
Right.
that was the reality he needed to be like,
Yeah,
wait a
I'm good
minute,
with that.
she's tripping. I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know they move
They
in
get the
together.
mattress.
Yoongi texts the girl, which was interesting. He got her number from
But this is
Jimin.
why she's not innocent. They was like, she is not as innocent as she puts out to be either. Because why is she even entertaining that? She entertained the
Right.
conversation between her and you, even though the conversation was innocent, but you already knew where they lied with each other. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Right. And Jin felt some type of way about it. And you know what? You know what? Now that I'm thinking of this, he had a really valid point, but now I'm like, he was kind of wrong for this. Saying it. So he was like, I just think it's weird that he's texting
Uh-huh.
you. How would you feel if I was texting Kaya? Or would you want me texting Kaya? And she's like, no. And he's like, exactly. So you don't
Uh-huh.
need to be texting my friend because that's just weird as hell. He's like, I don't like it. So that was kind of
Uh-huh.
that. Okay, I remember. So she tells him that he loves her, and Jin is just looking at her to see if she's telling the truth. He realizes that she is telling the truth, but then is like, I need to tell you something. So the girl's already like low key kind of crush because she
Uh-huh.
just told this man that he loves her. Now he's got a secret. The secret was the night that Yuna came to the shop, him and her kissed. So he tells her that they kissed, and she's like, it's okay. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Uh-huh.
Even though she was pretty upset about it. We're at the part now where Namjoon and the other guy, the moving the bed into the place. The guy, so there's two guys when they walk in, when the door is answered, and the girl ends up recognizing Namjoon immediately, and so does Jin, and the friend's like oblivious to what's all going on. So
Uh-huh.
then they they tell them where they want the bed, all that, they get it set up. They go back out to the truck, they start kissing. Namjoon walks back in, and then that's when he has an outburst. He's like, what, really, you guys can't wait till I leave? Still, the other guy that's with him is like, what are you talking about? And then finally Namjoon goes, that's my ex. And he's like, oh, okay. So anyway, they ended up getting the matches out there. Jin and Namjoon looked like they was about to go to battle, but they didn't, and that was kind of it for that scene.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the rest of the time wasn't really too much of anything. I know Yuna comes back around. I know Jin and the girl get into it because he keeps telling her he'll get stuff tomorrow. And she's like, no, like, we need stuff today. Like, we don't have laundry detergent. You
Uh-huh.
drink all the milk. Your
Yeah,
clothes are
because they got
everywhere. Like,
into
what the
it
hell?
over something so like because she kept saying it was just something that was something so stupid and small.
Mm-hmm. So after he gets all upset, he leaves the house. So he gets back to the house and he's low-key kind of drunk.
Uh-huh.
And she tells him he needs to get out because he goes off on her, and she's just like, bro, like, you can go.
Yeah,
I'm not
because
doing this
while
with
he
you.
was gone and he was like drunk, getting drunk and everything, she was like starting to feel bad that she started that over nothing. You know, it was
Mm-hmm.
basically pick your clothes up. Darn, you could have replaced the laundry detergent or stuff like that. And then she started feeling bad because, it was really dumb that she was arguing over that. But when he came back drunk and he didn't even have the laundry detergent.
Mm-hmm. Didn't have, man, after all that,
Right.
still.
Still didn't have the laundry detergent. But when I was reading that, I was like, girl, that's just a man.
Mm-mm. So he ended up going to, when he left, he did end up going to Jimin's house, and he went to the shop to set up. And as he's getting ready to set up, Yuna comes to the shop, and she tells him that she misses him,
Mhm.
and she felt like I thought there was gonna be more with her, but it wasn't as much as I had anticipated.
Right, right.
Because
Child being.
they kind of, yeah, well, that's true.
Uh-huh.
So they end up talking because she's like, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. I thought I was over you. And she realizes she's not. The girl walks in
And
not too long after
and
that.
they kissing.
No, they weren't kissing. She tried to kiss. Well, I guess she kind of was kissing.
She did kiss him.
She,
That's what she walked in on. She kissed him, and she walked in the tattoo shop in that booth, and they were kissing.
oh, that's right. And he tried to chase after her, but it was too late.
Uh-huh. But that's my thing
That's right.
with this whole story. He never went to her and was like, "She kissed me. I didn't kiss her."
Never. Yeah. I'm like, why didn't he just say anything?
Right, right. But I guess that would be too easy.
Clearly. So during this time, her and Jen aren't talking. she's gonna go on these random dates now, and one of the dates is is this? I think she starts hanging out with Yoongi a lot.
Yeah, after she went on that date with Tay.
So she go on the date with
She
Tay
went.
before
She went.
Jungkook.
Yes, because she went out on the date with Tay first because she was going through it with Jen. She still had Jen on her mind at this time, and she went out where you. I mean, she went out on a blind date, and ended up with Tay, and then that's when she seen Yugi. Remember?
Wait,
When she see Yugi, then that's when he was like, "Oh, she wouldn't." Did she see Jen at that time? And then he was like, "Oh, you clearly ain't over your ex, so I'm gonna dip out in this." Like, it was really short. With that date was really.
oh, that's right. It was really short.
Uh-huh.
Now I remember. Yeah.
So I can't remember if it was Yugi that came in or was it Jen. I think it was.
I'm trying. Was it Jen or was it?
I don't remember. I remember
Why
him
can't I
saying like, "You
remember?
clearly is not over your ex, so I'm out of here." He basically did that. I thought it was
It would have
for
had.
some reason I thought it was Yugi, and
Yeah.
she ended up being with Yugi, and that's what kind of they kicked it off.
I feel like it was Yoongi because it wouldn't have made sense for it to be Jin because Tae later in the story doesn't know that that
Oh
girl
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
is
That's
his
right. That's
ex-wife
right. That's
until
right. That's
later.
right.
There was so much that happened. There were so
Yeah.
many details of this story, y'all. Like, if we sound crazy, it's because there's so many pieces of it. Oh man, I forgot. Okay, so yeah, she went on a date with Tae. Yoongi showed up, and Tae realized what was going on and bounced. And then her and Yoongi chilled. And then I remember at some point. Oh wait, is it this story? Or am I
No, I
about to
just
start the next one?
remember that her and Yuki got close. So it was like texting, but they wasn't super close, but they was close, and they ended up going. Remember, they ended up going back to her house. They got drunk. Remember?
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
did
yeah.
karaoke and stuff.
Then they ended up going back to her
Yep.
place, and he didn't want to have sex with her because he knew that she still had feelings with Jen, but she wanted to have sex with him. So instead of her doing that, she just gave him some hair. Remember?
Right. I love the description of how she was pretty proud of her head
Uh-huh.
skills. That was really funny. She's like, I don't know much,
Yeah.
but I know I am not bad at this. Okay, so
So right, she gave him
yeah, she
some
gives him
hair,
head.
and then they pretty much was just like still kind of kicking it, but not really, because she still was in love with Jen.
Yeah.
And then
And then Jimin finds out about it and he's like, you can't do that to Jin. And he's like, Yoongi's pretty much like, fuck him, he didn't know what to do with it in the first place type of thing.
how did she get back
This is
with Jen?
bad.
Like she had stopped.
I don't know, because they ended up okay. So Yoongi and her did all of that. There's a point where she's supposed to go on a date with JK, and she ends up leaving
Oh,
because
that's right.
something
That's
happens
right.
with
She was
Jin.
going on a date with JK, and they didn't even get far on their date before Jen called. I
Mm-mm.
mean, Jimmy called Jen, was like, "Hey, come get your boy. He over here drunk at the crazy." And ain't that what happened? And she went back.
Yeah.
She went back to him, and they kind of stayed
Yeah,
together
she
after
did.
that.
So they went through all that. They stayed together, and yeah, they had some more kind of like rough moments, but for the most part, they kind of made it work. He ends up finding, or she they end up telling each other that they did things with other people, but they were all saying like, well, we weren't together, so whatever. Well,
He ended up
wait.
asking her to marry him, basically.
Yeah, I don't remember the rest of it. There's some other details, but yeah, pretty
He
much
asked her to
he
marry
asked this her,
him.
yeah, because I'm like,
She
we're gonna get
said
stuck on the
yes,
details.
but Yugi was like, so you like he told Yugi, I did ask her to marry me, blah 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 blah, or whatever. But they was in the same setting, and Yuki told her, do not marry him.
Flat out said it. Be with me. Don't be with him. He's gonna end up
Right.
hurting you, and you're gonna regret your decision. And what
Yep.
does she do? She
Said
still
I
goes
love
ahead
him, but
and
she
marries
felt
him,
some type of way
knowing
with Yugi still. She didn't know what it was, but
she
she
did.
just
She
knew she
definitely
loved
did.
Jen.
Right. So that was.
Yeah,
Are we doing
well,
the other
yeah, we'll
story?
do the other
Might
story
as
too.
well.
So what happened was she ended up marrying Jen. Yugi ended up selling his shop to Jimin. Jimin
He
bought it. Jen and Jimin still works
Yep.
together there, and Jungkook works there too. Because I don't think we
Mm-hmm.
didn't mention that Jungkook works there too. He was like he's like a
Oh yeah.
yeah. So he works there
Apprentice.
too or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And so that pretty much they just live happily ever after until the sequel come around.
The second book. Right. So
It's called
the second book come
Skins
around
2.
and Skins 2, it's Skins 2
Mhm.
Min Yoongi's story. And it starts
Yes.
out with the mess. Oh man, this story, okay. Oh wait, we missed a part, I think, in the other story. So real quick, guys, before we start the Min Yoongi story, her homegirl comes back into town for like a brief second, but never. That is in this the first story, right? When she comes back, but she doesn't tell the
Yeah.
girl. Okay, so she comes back, she doesn't tell the girl that she's in town because she's gonna go see Jimin,
Mm-hmm.
and nope.
Okay.
I think that might be the second story. I don't
I
know,
don't know,
girl. Why
girl.
am I so
This
confused?
me
I
too.
just
I
finished this
finished last
story.
night and I'm so confused about it. Okay,
Like,
so
what the
maybe it
heck?
isn't a second story.
Okay, so I don't know. Anyway, so the next story, it started with Yoongi. He's he's with some girl and she's like crying, but he's still struggling because at this point it's been 3 years later since Jin and the girl got married. So he's in this situation, but he's not like really in it because he doesn't want to go through the same heartbreak that he did once before, and he thinks of the girl on occasion. So it flashes to Jimin in his house where he is with Jimin and Jin live together along with Kaya. And Jin is throwing shit all over the
Yeah.
place, messing up the apartment.
Because we
And
now know that him and
him
old girl are getting a divorce.
Yep, he got put out because he was cheating,
Yeah.
right? Like that was what the thing
Right.
was. That's what caused it. I mean, among other things, there's
He
like some other
cheated,
stuff going
and
on
I
too,
think
but
he admitted to her
mainly the
who he
cheating.
cheated. I mean, he cheated, but not who he cheated with.
Right. We find that out later. So I think Kaya ends up telling him he has to go because he like ruined their stuff. But he keeps calling the girl because he wants to reconcile, and the girl's over it. She's like, nope, I'm not doing this shit. Like, I'm done with this relationship. He wasn't even that great of a husband. He didn't, I was alone in the relationship either way. Like, this isn't what I need. Yeah, she was very, very over it. But he didn't want to get divorced, so he was giving her a really hard time. So there's another scene where Yoongi's bringing some stuff to an old lady's house, and he runs into Jimin. And Jimin finds out that Yoongi's back in town and all that. You already know it's only a matter of time before everybody starts running into each other because they haven't seen each other in a few years at this point. I don't know all the details for real, but
girl, this is what I remember. Yoongi ended up staying in the same apartment complex as, wasn't it the girl, or was it Jim and them?
It was Jimin and Jin
So
and Kaya.
Jimin end up like being with each other. And like actually like working things out, and like Kaya moved in with Jim and they was doing this thing. Jim was drunk, had moved back to Jimin's place because he didn't have no place to go. Jim was throwing stuff and breaking stuff in their house. Jim feeling all sorry for him, right? And Jim is like, oh, he's just going through a hard time. But Kaya not having that, and Kaya like, if you do that again, you will be out. Like, don't disrespect my house. So Jan looked at her like sideways, which we didn't know why at first, but we do later. And then, just don't say nothing or whatever. Still trying to get back with his wife, but like we said, not having it. She ends up seeing Yugi. No, she's been hanging out with JK a lot.
No.
So JK actually has a lot of feelings for her, but she don't really have at this time have like the feelings towards him like that. Like they have a friendship, like we're like a close friendship relationship. Yep. And so, how did she meet back up with Yugi? Does she end up just texting him or calling, or did she? I think she just ended up texting him out the blue, right?
I think she randomly texted him.
I think she randomly texted him, but she was drunk. She went out and she was drunk. And so after she had like knew he was back in town or whatever, she asked him, he was like, are you drunk? And she was like, yeah, you want to come and get me? He was like, no, because he was trying to keep his boundaries because she still was married to Jen, just going through a divorce. So she was, right. He was like, no, but let me know when you get home safe. She ended up going home, texting him, I'm at home. So the next chapter, she wakes up, and when she wakes up, she see JK in the bed with her. She like, oh my God, did I have sex with him? Like, what happened? So she go in the bathroom, call her friend, tell her, I don't know if I slept with him or not. Her friend like, go ask him. And she was like, okay, whatever. So she go in there. Basically, they have a conversation. JK didn't end up even having sex with her because he's a perfect gentleman like he is.
Right.
And so he just basically told her what happened and he brought her home and she wanted him to stay in that room with him. With her. So he did. So anyway, so she is I think JK ended up just leaving. And the next she start texting. Does she text Yugi or does Yugi text her?
I think they see each other. Or no, I'm sorry. Yoongi texts her, and she tells him like, "Hey, sorry, I can't talk right now." So he's feeling some type of way off rip because he's like, "Really, you text me when you needed somebody, and now you can't talk to me right now? All right, bet." So JK at the out the house makes the breakfast, all that good stuff, and they were about. That's what it was. They were about to have sex, but he said nothing else happened because she called him Yoongi.
What?
She called him Yoongi. So there was a part where I guess because she was trying to figure out if they like kiss, and he was like, yeah, we kissed, and they started getting carried away. But he's like, but nothing else happened because you said Yoongi's name, and that's what made me stop.
Yeah.
And so she was like apologizing for it, but he's like, I didn't take it personally, but he really did.
I think JK leave and then she get a knock on her door and it's Yugi and she's like, "Oh hey, what are you doing here?" Ain't that the part?
I think Yoongi doesn't show up. She talks to Kaya, and then that's when she goes on the date with Tae. Because I'm looking at it, and it looks like she meets up with Tae then, and they're supposed to meet up somewhere. And so, as she gets there, that's when she's telling Jin that she can't and has to go. Yeah. So Tae, she's getting ready to go to her date with Tae, and she's running out the car, and Jin's waiting at her car, and she's like, I can't talk right now. I got somewhere to be. So she books it and goes to the place. Well, Yoongi's already at the place, and no, I'm sorry. Tae and the girl are already at the place, and Yoongi walks in, and they see each other. Everybody sees each other, and so they make eye contact, and that's the first time. No, it's not the first time. They see each other or whatever. So that's when Tae's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go because this is weird.
Oh my God, that was in the second story. That
After
wasn't
he
in
comes
the
back
first
from the bathroom.
story?
No, it was in the second.
I really thought that was
because I did too until I saw it, and I was like, oh crap. But yeah, Tae ended up inviting Yoongi over to their table for drinks, and then he senses it and is like, oh, okay, let me go. Which is funny because Tae was like, how do you know her? And Yoongi was like, she married one of my closest friends, but Tae doesn't know Yoongi, but him. Yeah, like how does he? I mean, I guess I can't say how does he not know him, but they're in the same area. It's weird. Like me and my cousins don't know each other's friends, but I also don't live near them. So, like Lisa said earlier, Tae ends up bouncing out because he could tell what's going on. He reads the room. Yoongi kissed her at the restaurant. She was pissed, goes home, and Jin is in her house.
Jin in there tearing up her house. Remember? He was drunk. Jin was in there tearing up her house. Oh, that's right. And he was like, I just want to talk to you, blah, 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 blah. And he ended up telling her he slept with her best friend. That's who he cheated on her with. It's her best friend, Kaya. So she kicked him out. She's like, I cannot believe this, blah, 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 blah. She kicked him out. The next day, she goes knocking at Kaya's door. He wants to know, is it true? Did you really do that? Kaya's like, girl, no. And then she looked at her in her face. She was like, I knew you was lying to me. And she was like, let me explain, blah, 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 blah. So in the meantime, Jen has already like, okay, I done already told old girl the truth. Let me go ahead and tell Jimmy the truth. So he goes to the shop, tell Jimmy he need to talk to him. He was like, all right. So he talked to him and tells him he slept with Kaya. Jimmy was like, if you don't get out of my shop right now, I'm about to knock you out. So He was like, get out my face, but Jen was still talking, and then Jen was just ran over there, just punched him in the face real quick. And so, he basically told him, I don't never want to see you again. Don't come around my shop no more. Blah blah blah. So he was like, I gave you a place to live and all that stuff, and this how you treat me, this how you do me. So Jen packs all his stuff from Jimmy's house, moves in with Tay. And
real quick, Kaya ended up telling Yoongi that Jin slept with. I mean, not Kaya. The girl ended up telling Yoongi that Kaya slept with Jin, and so Yoongi also texted Jin and was like,
really?
"Are you serious?"
And then he was like, basically, Jen was like, "Don't judge me. Did you tell her about you and Kaya?"
Yep.
Kaya done sold everybody in the crew.
Yep. Everybody. And she probably slept with Namjoon, and that's why she was trying to press her to break up with him and all that. Right. She slept with everybody.
So he was like, "Oh, did you tell her?" He was like, "You basically was like, it's not the same thing, but whatever."
So Jimin texts Yoongi and it's like, "Hey, bro, I just need to know if you did something with Kaya. Can you let me know?" And so Yoongi was like, "It was before y'all were together." And they're having the conversation about Jin, and he's like, "I didn't know until old girl told me." And he asked her how she's doing, all that. So they had like small talk about it. So then Jungkook was looking for the girl the whole time. The girl was with Yoongi, and Yoongi never told Jungkook. So Jungkook finally comes back and is like, "Bro, I don't know where she's at." And he's like, "Oh, she's here." Or I think he said, "I couldn't find her either," or something.
No, he didn't even tell him he was looking for her. He was just, when he went to Yugi's house, Yugi was like, she was like trying to stay there. He was like, "You can't stay here." And he was like, "Oh, my bad. I know you had company or whatever." He was like, "Yeah, I got company." And then he basically let him leave the beer because he was about to open up him a good old beer and sit and chill. He was like, "Leave the beer," and then he left and he went to Jimmy's, and he asked Jimmy, "I can't find her. I don't know where she at because something happened or whatever." And he was like, "Oh, she with Yugi," and then he got mad because he went back because JK like her. So he was like, "Why you didn't tell me she was here? Like the whole time I asked you, And so she was like, the girl came out the room. She was like, "What's going on?" And he was like, "Are you okay?" Because he had heard about Jen cheating with Kaya. So he was just basically checking on her and all kind of stuff. But by the time JK had got to Jim, and he was drinking a little bit. So when he went back over there to Yuki's house, she was like, the girl was like, "You just need to chill because I can smell alcohol on your breath." Because Yuki was trying to get him to leave. Yuki was trying to get him to leave because he tried to get his time in with her. And she was like, "You just need to chill because I can smell the alcohol on your breath." And he was like, "You know what, bet I do need to chill." So he took off his shoes, stayed right there at the couch, making sure you didn't pull no moves on her.
What a mess.
So then what happened after that?
So after that, I don't understand how we were like so confused. It was such a good story. Probably because it was so detailed. Like some of the details were like intertwined. So I don't know where to go with it in my head. You know what I mean? It was just so much that happened. Okay. So her and JK were together. I know they were together at a point back at her house after she left. After she left Yoongi's spot. And they kind of have a moment, and they're gonna he kisses her forehead, and it was like real loving. They kind of had like a moment or whatever, and then it kind of goes to when Jin and Taeyoung are talking to each other about everything, and it comes out that pretty much that the girl that Jin is talking about is the girl that Taeyoung went on a date with, which he didn't know that he didn't know that at the beginning. So now Taeyoung, JK, Yoongi, and Jin all feel some type of way about this one girl.
But has got something going on. We don't know what is going on with him.
Right.
But when he moved in, when Jin moved in with Taeyoung, Jin, like I don't know how many days this has been. But Tay has a friend over, and the next morning Tay is gone, but the friend is still there. And Jen sees her, and Jen starts flirting with her, and then her and Jen got it on. And then Tay came home, and Tay was like, "Really? I left for
Mm-hmm.
an hour, and this is what you do with my cousin? Like, really? Get out my house or whatever." And so when
Right.
that happened, the whole time this girl was recording her and Jen to try to send the evidence to the lawyer.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what that
yeah, she was
was.
recording. She was recording the whole time, and Jen was like, "You mad at me,
Oh,
cuz?" Basically, he was like, "Cuz, you mad at me because I screwed this girl?" He was like, "Nah, she just a random, or whatever." But the whole time, Tay was just trying to get that videotape. So Tay, that girl had recorded
right,
them screwing, and that tape, he sent that tape to the girl's lawyer to try to get their divorce,
right.
like look good on her.
During this though, Yoongi and the girl had sex, and Yoongi
So
recorded
Jen
it
could
and
get
sent it to
over her.
Jin. So, yep. So Jin had a video of Yoongi and the girl having sex, and Taeyoung had a video of him and his friend having sex. But Yoongi tried to get Jin to delete it, and I guess
Yeah,
he did end up deleting it.
Yugi didn't realize what he was really doing because the girl lawyer called her. He was like, "Oh, I got something. Somebody recorded this of Jen, and it's looking good in your favor." So he tells the girl that. The girl tells Yugi, "Oh my God, my court case, my divorce about to be good because for some reason somebody recorded Jen having sex, blah blah blah." And then Yugi's like, "Oh, so that might look good in court, or that might look bad in court." And she was like, "Yeah, so it's looking good in my favor." He hadn't even told her that he sent that darn that video to them. Yeah, to Jen. So
Video.
now he like, "Oh my God,
Yep.
now I gotta get this back." So now go ahead. Now go ahead.
So Yoongi goes out to go get the video from Jin, but Jin realizes initially he's like, yeah, I'll delete it or whatever, but then he realizes that the girl doesn't know that Yoongi recorded it. So then he kind of like talks shit to him, and Yoongi goes back, and he ends up having to tell the girl like, hey, I just gotta be honest with you, I recorded us having sex and I sent it to Jin. So the girl's like, all right, no worries, let me go handle this. So she goes to Jin and is like, hey, bro, Yoongi recorded me. I had no idea that this was going on. I just really need you to delete the video because, I really feel exposed and I didn't know that was going on. So I
Yeah,
think he
did
ends
show
up
her
getting
phone,
rid
but
of
he had
it. But
already got rid of it
in
because Yuki had already asked Jen to get rid of it. And then Jen was like, "Oh, now I got something on you because now you did something stupid." And you remember yeah,
he shows,
go ahead.
yeah, he showed.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say he showed the girl the phone and she saw that it was gone, but then she was like she saw Tae Young's name and she was like, how do you know Tae
Yeah,
Young? And he's like, how do you?
right. Because he had already asked, Yuki had already asked Jen to delete it. But Jen was like, "Nope, I got something on
Right.
you now." But then she went back after Yuki told her that's what he did. And he was like, "Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
he deleted it because he had already deleted it," which I thought was so noble of Jen because Jen was just such a jerk the whole time. But he loved that girl. He really
Right.
did love her.
He loves her in
Right,
his
right,
own
right. They
special
all
way.
really love in their own special
Like
way.
as
Because
well, yeah.
Yugi loves her in his special way too. Because he kind of yeah,
He a
he do,
lot.
he kind of be like, "Who pussy is this mine, this mine." That type of relationship with her with
Yeah,
Jen
yeah,
was not
yeah.
like. But I think she feel a little bit intimidated by
Mm-hmm.
it though. It hasn't gotten there yet, but
Yeah.
he yeah, yeah.
Maybe we'll find out. So after that, where was I at?
We be so lost.
Shoot.
So basically, remember you was like, I think that did
I
you
don't
say how
know.
do you know Tay? How do you know Tay?
Oh yeah, yeah. She was like, how do you know Tay? And he was like, how do you? And that's kind of where that ends. So he doesn't know about the tape of the girl and of him and the other girl. And Tay's already sent it to her lawyer. So at this point, the girl's lawyer's got the proof of Jen being unfaithful. Any proof that she was being unfaithful is gone because he erased it. So we're kind of waiting on that court case as of right now. The story hasn't been completed just yet, so we're still kind of waiting. But during all this time, like, her and Yoongi are getting together. Everything's like going. He moves in with her, and they're kind of like living their life or whatever. But there's still kind of issues. And at a point, Yoongi goes out for something, and JK's at the house hanging out with the girl, and she's putting makeup on him, and they ended up kissing each other, and she doesn't pull away from him. So then she starts to doubt everything, and she's like, why is this happening? Like, what's going on or whatever. So then Kaya ends up telling Jin that she's pregnant, and Jin is trying to find out if it's his or not, and she says no or whatever.
She told Jin.
Did she tell Jimmy
she couldn't get in touch with Jimmy.
That's right. So she tells Jin, and I think Jin ends up telling Jimin.
She goes and tells Jin.
Somebody ends up telling Jimin.
She can't get in touch with Jimmy. She tells Jin. Jin said, you need to tell Jimmy. And she was like, I know, I can't get in touch with him. And he was like, go to the shop, basically. And then she was like, she was like, oh, I think she asked him to come with her. So they didn't go to the shop, they went to his house. So they ended up going to Jimmy's house, telling Jimmy, telling her, knocking on the door. Then she was like, I got something to tell you. And he was like, not you, just you. So he wouldn't let Jen even in. And so she ended up telling her she's pregnant. Yep. And he's like, yeah, right. Which I would have been like, yeah, right too, ho. And she was like, exactly. I am pregnant, it's yours, blah blah blah. And then
they somehow get into it or something. She ends up leaving. When she leaves, she gets into a car accident, but she hits Yoongi and the girl.
So everybody rushing to this hospital for Kaya because nobody's hurt.
Yeah, nobody's hurt. So, Kaya's just kind of out of it or whatever. So Jimin ends up going to the hospital and is like, hey, I just want to know about, like, is she okay? How's the baby? And the nurse or whatever is like, oh, she's not pregnant.
And then Jimin pissed off now because you done got me feeling some type of way back for you, and you ain't even pregnant. And then he looked at Jen and was like, "Did you know this? Did you know that she was lying?" And he was like, "No, I didn't even know." So now Jen pissed off at her too because now you didn't lie to me too.
Right. They end up leaving, and somehow I don't remember what happens after this, but I just know at a point she's out and about, and Yoongi's at the house, and he starts packing up his bags because he has something he needs to tell her. So she gets to the house and she sees Yoongi sitting on the side of the couch and is like, hey, what's going on, babe? What's up? And he pretty much was like, we need to talk. So he ends up telling her that he had sex with Kaya years ago when she was married to Jin and doing her own thing. He lets her know that he had sex with Kaya. And the girl doesn't really say much of anything. Right. And he's like, aren't you going to say anything? And she's like, I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm just tired of this shit happening. So he tells her, you know, my feelings for you don't change. And she says, well, it changes mine. And that's where it ends.
It was all over the place.
Sorry, it was all over the place, you guys. Again, there's a lot of moving pieces to this. And sometimes I was thinking about, sometimes we say there's a lot of moving pieces, but this one really did have a lot of moving pieces in it because everybody's kind of connected in some way. So as of right now, we have that Kaya has been with Jimin, Yoongi, and Jin. But not and JK. Probably Namjoon, not JK. And then the girl has been with, not been with, but had something to do with JK, Tae, Yoongi, and Jin. And I said JK and Namjoon. But so we're just kind of waiting at this point to see what's going to happen. The story was updated sometime earlier this week or last week. So hopefully we'll get an update on that here soon. But
the story was good.
How did you feel about the story, girl?
Very detailed. So it is a lot that we were probably leaving out. And it was all over the place because there was so much information in such short story, if that makes sense. And so, but I liked the story. It was really good. It was very entertaining. The smut was good. The smut was detailed. It wasn't as much smut as like the last story we was reading. But it still was some smut in it. Oh, yeah, girl. Good. But it was really good for the most part. I'm excited to see where it leads, though.
Me too. There's so many storylines that, are going to probably be discussed. So I'm just curious to how this is all going to play out because now we have this storyline with Tae and whatever he's doing, whatever Jin's doing, Kaya's whole storyline, Jimin, JK, Yoongi.
Yeah.
Namjoon, because Namjoon said he'll be back.
Right.
See, this is what I think is going to happen, right? I think somehow, some way, Tay and Namjoon are like friends, and he told Tay to do something for him so that the girl can be finally divorced, so that he could try to get back at her.
And we think that Kaya messed with Namjoon. But
Yeah,
where is
definitely think
JK
Kaya messed
going
with
with
Namjoon.
her? Because that's a whole different, like, something for her. Like, because
Yeah.
we said that she loves them all, or they all love her in a different way. But JK is something different. He's like, it's like he's more soft with her. It's like he's more like lovey-dovey with her more than the rest of them.
So this will be interesting to see where it goes. Hopefully we'll have an update for you guys within the next couple of weeks as it gets updated. But you guys can always follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can email us at doyoureadbts@yahoo.com.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah, we'll be
All right.
probably getting into a good Namjoon story soon. I know Deewa is happy about that. Honey, she looking for some Namjoon stories.
Yes. Yep. There's a story that I'm reading right now that's a Namjoon story, but we can't talk about it because it's not finished. But just for you guys want to know about a story, a good Namjoon story, there's one called Daddy's Home. It's on Wattpad, and it is so good. It's by, let me tell y'all who it's by so you guys can check this out, because it is
You've been
pretty
talking
good.
about Daddy's Home for a minute, so you know it's good.
Yeah, it's so good. It's because it's a lot that happens in that too. But Daddy's Home is by Bad Busan Bitches Only on Wattpad. So although we probably won't go into it on this show, if y'all want to read it, definitely do so. It's an ongoing story.
You guys want to give us? Please send them through.
Yes. If you guys have those recommendations, please send them our way.
Bye.